Independent analysts say other tax cuts in the past have been bigger than this one, but the bill, which is hundreds of pages long, will affect the daily lives of Americans at every income level. Big issues include whether cutting corporate taxes will give workers bigger paychecks, how the new law will affect home buyers and sellers, and the tax deductions that are going away. Leigh Gallagher, a senior editor-at-large for Fortune magazine, is here with some of the answers to some of those questions. Good morning.
Good morning.
Leigh, much to discuss. Listen, the Democrats are jeering, the Republicans are cheering. You know, the president called it, what did he say, an incredible gift for Christmas.
Right, and a big, beautiful tax cut.
A big, beautiful tax cut. The Democrats called it a disgrace. So who's telling the truth here? Who are the winners and losers?
Well, I think that just tells you how polarizing this whole debate has been, and how this legislative, win for the president has been a big game of political football. I mean, the last time we passed major tax reform, it was not, not a single Democrat we know voted for this one, and that was not the case last time. So it's been an incredible political battle.
So let's break it down, go through it. So some companies have already made commitments essentially to give back. Boeing announcing $300 million for things like gift matching, workplace development, AT&T, Comcast talking about bonuses. How does that work out, that reinvestment in employees?
Well, it's interesting. So I think this really speaks to, there's been an enormous amount of public disaffection with this bill. There's an incredible feeling that it favors businesses and it favors the wealthy, which it does. But, AT&T is an interesting example. It's locked in a fight with the administration over whether it will be allowed to acquire Time Warner. So this is a big deal, and AT&T also said it's going to invest $1 billion here in the U.S. next year in addition to the bonuses.
And in fairness to Randall Stephenson, the CEO of AT&T, I was with him before they tried to block that deal, and he was already talking about reinvesting in workers before that.
Exactly. But, you can almost see that these companies are sort of writing the tweets for the president, because this is sort of a line straight to his heart. They are showing right away that, look, this is for, the tax cut is passed on one day, day two, it rains money for American workers.
No obligation to do that, though.
Correct.
They're not. No, they're not.
And what's the likelihood then that once you get past this initial PR phase, that this will be a pattern of behavior?
Well, there's a lot of skepticism around that. But I will say also those companies, it's not just bonuses. Some of them are raising the minimum wage. So that is a significant, And so, but the big criticism is that companies will use this money to reinvest by buying back their stock and by paying dividends and all that. We're sort of in an era of financial engineering, and capital finds the way that it's, flows to the way it's most useful.
So the Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan, talked about inversions, that companies are taking their money overseas and keeping it there. What in this tax bill means that they're going to bring that money back home?
So there is what's called a deeded repatriation, which is a way of saying the tax bill offers a very low rate, 15.5% for cash, for companies to bring that money back to the U.S. Now, it's also switching to a territorial system of global taxation, which, means it's not likely that that's going to be as huge as I think everyone is saying it will be. We did a tax holiday in 2004, and it actually didn't result in so much reinvestment in the American economy because people think, why don't we keep it over there?
Here's a question. What stands out to you that's in the bill that we might not have heard about? We know it's 100 pages long.
Oh, there's so much in there. I mean, there's a lot of little things that actually people don't know about. And
mortgage interest deduction.
That is a huge one. And in fact, that's the one thing that I think is most surprising, because the mortgage interest deduction is something that most economists agree is not a good tax policy. It's regressive. It favors the wealthy. It pushes us into single-family homes. But that's been touched. And so
it's still there, but it's been reduced.
It's still there, but it's been reduced. And
how does this affect? Look, a home is most people's. It's the biggest investment they make in their life. How does this affect that market?
It really affects the affordability math. When you look at what your house is going to cost you every month if you're buying, you factor in that interest deduction. That's a big part of it, as is deducting property taxes. And in some states, that's going to change. In high expensive states, there's a cap on property deduction stuff. So this is going to affect the real estate market.
So, and one teachers union estimates that that cap on those state and local taxes could lead to an estimated $250 billion in cuts to public education.
Yes.
Why would that funding be at risk?
Because it's going to be harder for schools to raise taxes because of this change in people are going to really be crimped in what they can deduct in their local taxes. So that's going to hurt everybody. But some of the interesting
alimony?
The interesting things, so divorce alimony payments are deductible now. They're no longer going to be. But that was going to take place next year, which might have meant we would have seen a rush of divorces in the next 7 days. Because and now they pushed it off for another year, so don't worry about that.
Okay.
But other things, you can no longer deduct your tax preparation expenses. I mean, that seemed like such a given to me. I don't know. You can't deduct taxes the cost of your move, if you move for work, you're no longer able to deduct those costs. I just moved. I mean, those are not going to be, that's expensive. I mean,
Yes.
it's a big deduction. So there are other things like that I think people don't know about. And the IRS, by the way, is going to be so overwhelmed dealing with all this. This was pushed through incredibly fast.
So
and
is
we
your
all have
accountant,
whiplash.
so is your accountant, if you have one.
My accountant said he's getting 50 calls a day about this.
Wow.
So
Well, Leigh-
it's a big deal.
Leigh Gallagher,
Next
thank
time.
you for taking us through all those
Thank you
different
for
changes.
having me.
And
We
get your
appreciate
employer to pay for your move.
it. Well,
Yeah, now.
I don't know about that.